Hi guys, it's Ivy. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about the real and the fake when it comes to healthy food and healthy eating. This is part 2 of my fake healthy foods video. If you haven't seen part 1, click the link above or check the description box below. In that video, I did a deep dive on some of the most popular protein bars on the market and so-called healthy cereals. Today, I'm sharing details on more processed foods that many consider healthy snacks and some reasons why we need to look a little deeper than the fancy marketing on the packaging. But let's talk about wheat thins while we're at it. They definitely do a great job of subliminal programming on the front cover. Of course, it's called thin, so that's making you think it's a healthy snack. It's going to help you stay thin, or it's going to help you get thin, let you know this reduced fat, and it also gives you a clue that there's no artificial flavors or colors, so that makes you think it's healthy for you, right? Goodness, that is baked into a wholesome snack where less is more. There are less ingredients on this package. I will say there's not a long list of ingredients, but all of these are going to be less healthy for you than more. Whole grain wheat flour, sugar, just regular sugar, so again that's probably genetically modified, and it's white sugar, which is addictive. So it's gonna make you want to continue to eat and eat and eat. And canola oil, which is a toxic oil to cook with in general. Not only is it toxic, but it is one of the biggest genetically modified crops in the United States. So you want to pay attention to things that have corn, sugar, canola, and soy. Those are the biggest genetically modified crops in the United States. This has pretty much all of that. It's got sugar, canola, corn, and this one does not have soy. So it has 3 different genetically modified items in here, and it doesn't say non-GMO, and the fact that it's a major brand and major United States brand leads me to believe that this probably does contain genetically modified ingredients. So again, it's got the sugar, canola oil, cornstarch, malt syrup, so that's going to be another type of sugar, and it's got regular salt. So let's talk about salt for a minute. A lot of the items that I mentioned today do contain salt, and when I say salt, I'm talking about regular table salt. The problem with regular table salt is that it is a processed food. It is white, it is refined, and it's just the sodium chloride. Our bodies do need sodium, but likely you'll get the sodium that you need from any fruits and vegetables that you will be eating. But when you have things like regular table salt, it is devoid of the natural minerals that come in the complete food of salt. So if you're going to eat salt, it needs to be sea salt or pink Himalayan salt or a complete salt that has the minerals that it was originally made with. With refined table salt, you're just getting an abundance of that sodium, and that can lead to different types of cardiovascular issues. But also, refined table salt has been shown to have anti-caking agents, which your body just doesn't need, and also sometimes there's some sugar thrown in there. So why? So anytime that you see regular sugar or regular salt, and when I say regular, I really mean processed, right? If it just says sugar or it just says salt, it doesn't say sea salt, or it doesn't say pure cane sugar or some type of natural sweetener like honey or maple syrup, then you really want to stop it and drop it. Just don't eat that. It's not a healthy snack. I picked these up mainly for my parents, honestly.
Hi, Mom.
Because anytime that my parents road trip or something, they will get these, and I always try to tell them these are not healthy for you. But the packaging looks really healthy, right? It's green, it says Nature Valley, that makes you think it's natural. Crunchy granola bars, that makes me think of a hippie, crunchy vegan who's eating something healthy. And they look pretty healthy, right? But these things are full of sugar and a good amount of genetically modified foods. Now let's get into genetically modified foods for a minute. My generation, unfortunately, is a generation that kind of grew up in the onset of genetically modified foods, and we won't really know the true effects of these things for another couple of years. People are getting sicker and sicker at a younger age. My generation, our children are said to be the first generation to not outlive their parents. So that's pretty sad, and you want to pay attention to statistics like that, because these genetically modified foods, processed foods, and chemicals in our foods that we're not paying attention to and we don't even know how to pronounce half the time are what's leading to these issues in our diets and in our overall wellness. So this has whole grain oats, and the second ingredient is sugar. Not pure cane sugar, but just regular white sugar. The third ingredient is canola oil. So again, we've got those genetically modified foods in here. It does not say GMO free anywhere on this package. It does have honey, and then it has regular table salt. So again, giving you that isolated sodium without the other minerals that your body needs, brown sugar syrup, and then natural flavor. So this has tons of highly processed and likely genetically modified food, tons of sugar that is not natural, and it's just going to lead to more sugar cravings. Now, I did want to talk about Jell-O. I think that people tend to think that Jell-O is a pretty healthy food. It's something that you get when you're sick sometimes, right? I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but sometimes if you don't really feel that great, Jell-O is like a light food that they'll give you. Even in the hospital, they'll give you Jell-O. And let's get into it. Just regular Jell-O. It does say on the front, no artificial sweeteners, no high fructose corn syrup, and same great taste. So they're giving you some idea that this might be healthy for you. But if we look at the ingredients, just a half a cup of this Jell-O has 19 grams of sugar, which is a lot. The first ingredient is sugar. Again, regular white sugar, so it's likely genetically modified. The second ingredient is gelatin, which is basically grounded up animal bones and cartilage. If you look at the meat industry and you really dissect what's going on there, a lot of the animals are tortured and even diseased when they're killed. So the health and safety of those bones and cartilage pieces that are being grinded up to make gelatin, to me, that's pretty sketchy. It also has artificial flavor, which is even worse than natural flavor because that can come from pretty much anything. It could be chemically derived. Fumaric acid, which I don't even know what that is, but it's for tartness. I'm sure your body doesn't need it. And lastly, it has red 40. Red 40 is highly toxic to your brain. It is a neurotoxin. A lot of the children are now having ADHD and dyslexia, different learning disabilities, and we're giving them all of these very brightly colored foods. Whether it's in children's cereal or Jell-O that's fun for kids. Red 40 is one of the worst food dyes to actually eat, and it used to be banned in the European Union. I'm not sure if it is, but if it is, I will say yes down below. This is definitely something that you don't want to eat. But let's say you really like Jell-O and you're like, well, Ivy said this isn't great for me, so I'm gonna go hit the sugar-free option. Now this has gelatin as the first ingredient as opposed to sugar, but what this uses instead of sugar is aspartame. And aspartame is actually worse for your body than sugar. It also has something called acesulfame. I don't even know what that is. Oh, it's acesulfame potassium, which is a sweetener, so that's another artificial sweetener, table salt, and red 40, and artificial flavors. So this is just toxic. It's got neurotoxins, genetically modified foods, and artificial sweeteners. So let's get into this gluten-free movement. A lot of people, including myself, tend to gravitate towards gluten-free foods, but you really have to be careful with gluten-free packaged foods because sometimes they can just be another marketing scheme to get you to buy junk food. And this has tons of starch and carbs that your body doesn't need. It's just a highly processed food, to be honest with you. It's got gluten-free oats, so it does still have wheat in it, brown rice flour, potato granules, and potato starch. You might be better off just getting some potato chips. Those are likely gluten-free as well, and then they don't have all this other stuff. Vegetable oil, it does have cane sugar, so a little bit more natural than just regular white sugar. So at the top it has cane sugar, but then as you go down on the ingredients list, and this does have quite a few ingredients, it then has molasses and regular white sugar. So you have to pay attention to things like that. Read all of the ingredients. It's got whey protein, which you really don't need, and natural butter flavor. So where is that natural flavor coming from? We don't know. Now this does have a lot of seeds in it, like amaranth and caraway and poppy and sesame, millet and quinoa, which are great things to have. But to me, this has way too much stuff in it. It's called everything, sort of like the everything bagel, but it has a little bit too much of everything in it and too much of things that you don't need. It's very starchy and processed. Then you have these organic veggie chips. They even have pink Himalayan salt to make you think that they're very healthy for you. Now, they may be more healthy than a non-organic version with regular table salt, but the main ingredients are corn, potato, white rice, potato starch, and cornstarch. So that's just a lot of starch. Is this any better than just regular potato chips? They try to trick you by saying these are veggie chips, and that makes you think they're made with vegetables. They do contain a small amount of vegetable powder. So there's spinach powder, tomato powder, red beet powder, and turmeric. But that's mainly for coloring, and you'll notice that those are towards the bottom of the ingredient list. Then it has organic cane sugar. Is sugar necessary for potato chips? Not really. And then it has pink Himalayan salt as the last ingredient. The Himalayan salt is going to give you some of the minerals that your body needs versus just regular table salt. But overall, this is just a highly processed food. It's mainly starches and carbs. It tricks you into thinking that you're not eating potato chips, but for the most part, this is just like a potato corn chip, and it's got a little bit of vegetable powder to give it some color and make you think that you're doing something healthy. But if you're buying these as a healthy alternative to corn chips or potato chips, then you really want to make sure that you're reading the ingredients, because you're getting pretty much the same thing, corn and potatoes. So this isn't really like a healthy food, it's a organic processed food. And we want to get away from processed food as much as possible. So the reason for this video is really to just get you thinking differently about processed foods and so-called healthy foods that you'll find in your local grocery stores. Definitely pay attention to your ingredient labels. Try to keep your sugars low as possible, and if you are going to have sugars in your food, try to make sure that it is coming from a natural, non-GMO source, such as honey, maple syrup, or pure cane sugar at the least, and definitely stay away from just regular white sugar. It's nothing but an addictive substance that is only going to feed parasites in your body and bad bacteria. Focus more on whole foods, organic foods, and preparing your own foods at home, whether that's making your own energy bars or having a very plain breakfast cereal of a whole grain and just adding a little drizzle of honey and topping it with coconut yogurt or Greek yogurt if you're into dairy, but make sure that those things are organic. I hope the video was helpful for you. Definitely press the like button below and leave a comment letting me know what processed foods are out on the market that you know are unhealthy and why. And if you're interested in more videos like this, definitely let me know. There's tons of other so-called healthy foods on the market that I can talk about and bring to your attention. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.